What's up? What's up?
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This is gonna be a good one. This could be a good one. It's gonna be nice and spicy today, boys. Nice and spicy. We got some funny little memes we could toss out at you right now too.
Oh, throw it out ASAP. Let's go.
This is for the boys.
Well,
this is for the boys right here.
I feel like we always just have to throw out like an FTR type, meme of some sort. So
we have to.
We have to.
All right, so here we go. This is awesome. Watching the Raider game at Allegiant Stadium in 2025 when the A's end up playing there. Oh my gosh, I love this meme. This is so clownery with the A's, man. But this is hilarious. James, where did you find this, by the way? Do you see this? Like, was it on Twitter or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. And it's funny because when I posted it up on my Instagram, Facebook, and everything, one of my buddies who lives out in Vegas, he's like, and he's a Raider fan. He was a Raider fan before they moved to Vegas and everything. He's like, that's not going to happen, dude. They just bought it was like whatever amount of acres to build the stadium. And I was like, well, that's not until 2027 to even get that stadium up.
It's not finished. Yeah,
it's not finished, dude. And by the way, Oakland hasn't supported the A's for at least the past couple of years, which I think is the reason why Bob Melvin got traded to the Padres, because he's like, I don't want to go to Vegas. I don't want to be part of this business anymore. So they got to play somewhere, right? He's like, well, there's this other little stadium, which is like UNLV's stadium and stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's not even indoor, dude. All the players are going to die, dude, out there in the heat, dude. Come on. Yeah. Vegas, no way. Vegas and then he's like, Mark Davis doesn't like the A's. And I'm like, I think at this point, he's a little cash strapped from what I'm hearing. So I think he's got to make something happen, dude. So.
And he's got a funky haircut. I mean, what's up with that haircut, dude? I mean, good God.
I think for sure, he's not spending much money on his haircut. That's what I'm gathering from that.
Yeah, supercuts for real, dude.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy,
more like
so
undercuts, not supercuts.
I know. Yeah. Well, guys, we got a good episode for you. We just wanted to throw that meme out there. I thought it was pretty hilarious. I know, we want to talk about the draft. It's an exciting week. I mean, guys, all these channels like to do draft episodes, draft this, draft that. Kyle did a 4-hour episode yesterday. Holy smokes. I'm kind of surprised you even wanted to do that again. You want to do something again today. I mean,
hey, man, I don't care. Dude, I'm doing it for the fam, bro. I'm doing it for the bros, the fam, and for the wham bam. I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, it's just dedication. Actually, it was really fun to do that, honestly. And I feel like if I do it again, I probably should actually do it. Do a little more homework on it and not just do it live, because I'll be perfectly honest, after about the 10th pick, it was all chaos. Trying to find what people wanted for their team after that. It was oh, he's not available, so we got to pick something else, because I was basically trying to create my own 32 GM first round draft, and it was just chaos after that. I was I went to maybe 5 different videos sometimes and see who was available in it. I was like, gosh, this is annoying. So
I was gonna say, bro, because that was very, very bold. That was definitely very bold. Hey, this is a good segue, Robert. I think this question could be a good one for us to pop into right off the rip. I know we got a lot we want to discuss. We do want to talk about Austin Ekeler as well, too, but maybe this is a good place to start. What position is the most needed for this draft? I don't know. I mean, I've been racking my brain on it, right? And I think the one that we need a wide receiver that is badass, in my opinion. And I would say another tight end. The reason being a wide receiver is we can't really stretch the field vertically. I think that's partially why I'm kind of okay with the idea of Zay Flowers. But you also got to look at the contracts coming up. You got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. They're getting real expensive. I mean, isn't Allen supposed to be paid $30 million next year or something like that? It's just crazy money. Yeah. So I look at him. I look at Edge. Those are probably the two that I think are most important. But I don't know. Bros, what do you think?
And that's the whole thing. Even with this episode, I came in with the idea of who's truly going to be available at 21. Right. And
exactly,
because there's all these people saying all these crazy names that I just Bijan Robinson. I don't think he's getting out of the top 10 in my opinion.
No, really? Wow.
I think he's going to be going to the Lions. I think he could potentially go, which you keep hearing about the Falcons, which I think is kind of a wild idea. And I think those are fans also saying they want him at
for sure.
8. But then at 10 with the Eagles, I just feel like that could be a good fit and would definitely make them a little bit extra dangerous all around. And then at the latest at that point, it would be the Bucks, I think at 19. I think it's 18 or 19. It's just tough to say. But so anyways, like what position is really needed? Going back to the question here, I would really, really concur that yes.
I concur.
I concur. Yes, yes. Do you concur? I concur. Yes.
I do
yes,
concur.
Yes, my brother. I concur. Yeah.
It's edge and wide receiver. Now, once again, though, wide receiver with Jalen Guyton being signed, I don't think it's going to be as big of a need for one, which you could still find guys in 2 and 3, but we need speed. We need to find a guy that make things happen. So, I mean, we'll get a little bit more in depth of guys that I personally think that could be available at 21, why we should do it or whatnot. And I'm planning to hopefully do some smaller videos on, why we should draft this guy or why we should not draft this guy at 21. So, But Kyle, what's your thoughts? I mean, what is the position of need?
I'm gonna throw a curveball at y'all.
Oh no!
There you go.
I've been talking
safety. Hunter.
Hey.
That's tempting there, brother.
Yeah.
But I've been really high on edge and wide receiver as well, just because of the money pit that we're in.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this: what has been the one struggle for the Chargers ever since Brandon Staley's got here? Like defensive
run defense.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like defensive tackle 100% probably is our biggest position of need. Yep. It's not a big splashy pick that we can go for, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to hate it. But it's very much so, like, I think in my personal opinion, the biggest position of need, if we can get an Aaron Donald type person up there, I think we're good. Then at that point.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Do you?
Do
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the truth. And so, I did a video talking about what we really need, not what we want. Mm-hmm. And, that's a whole thing that I think everybody has these wants players and they think it's going to be available for us at 21, which unrealistically, I don't think it will be there or they will be there at 21. And that's the whole idea about getting Bijan Robinson is, look, it would be wild if he shows up at 21. We've had guys fall to us at later round picks, mid-round picks, Derwin James, Rashawn Slater, that have panned out extremely well, and how we got to them at our pick level was phenomenal for us. But 21 is kind of that area where you're going to get, obviously, your top 20 players picked up already at that time. Now, it's different from position to position and such, but it'll be interesting to see where it all kind of pans out for us for 21 and who's available there. I mean, and I do want to say there are guys later in the draft that if we wanted to go running back, Tajay Spears is a guy that I really think is very good. What's a running back, Zach Charbonnet or whatever?
Charbonnet
from UCLA. Another guy. Ukla.
Joshua Kelly came out of Ukla as well.
Yeah, he came out of Ukla as well.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you also have to say this. Look, we still got Isaiah Spiller. We got Joshua Kelly.
Yeah.
We already have good running backs, right? Mm-hmm. And the running game is going to be very different now. So, Robert, you're literally going into one thing we really wanted to discuss today.
Is Robert our producer? Is he
really are you a producer?
He's segueing us into all of our segments already. It's like, hey, who showed him the notes? Who showed him the notes? Hey.
Come on now. Are we that predictable, Robert? I guess we are. Huh?
He's in our bro chat right now, isn't he? That's what's going on. Yeah,
we pay people to go into the chat to get this conversation going. It's like I feel like some comedians pay people to laugh in their crowd so they could basically get people to laugh. So it's like it's kind of how it is.
It's a good idea to have your mama up in there.
I love those little laugh track we got here too.
Oh yeah.
So,
That's so
Robert, we
good.
want to talk about Ekeler on
Yes.
trade
Yep.
bait. So there is a long discussion that's been going on, right? And again, it leads up to the fact that nothing's happened up to this point, right? But there's been all these
Yep.
rumors that he could get moved. Well, there's a team that came out recently talking about them potentially wanting to pick up Austin Ekeler on draft day. Once you show that up there, James.
Let's go. So
Yeah,
here we go. So
go ahead.
this is from heavy.com. Actually, it originally came from CBS Sports with Chris Trapasso talking about a mock draft that he did. Basically looking at like Chargers trading Austin Ekeler along with their 54 pick.
Yep.
So basically the second round pick to the Eagles for the 30th overall selection in the first round. So Philadelphia holds 2 picks in the first round, which is the 10th and the 30th pick.
Yep.
You know, it's possible, and how it's possible is if Bijan Robinson doesn't get there and they really put them at a high level, in my opinion. Like I was saying, I think the Lions have a good chance to go after him. Falcons seem like they're pretty interested about the guy. If it doesn't happen, what if they just add an Austin Ekeler to their team and give up their 30th round pick? We get 2 first round picks. We don't get a second anymore, but we could go after a couple real good players for us that could help us out. So I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Let's
100%.
go. We got ourselves a super chat, baby.
Hey,
Let's go.
Thank you.
Dude,
Appreciate
619 Cali Factor, man. Appreciate it, my friend, dude. Always appreciate it, dude. So, well, you want to jump in there real quick on kind of his question there?
Yeah. So,
from 619 Cali Factor, I think we should draft a receiver in the first and second rounds. You can never have enough receivers, especially with unexpected injuries.
Yep.
Dude, you know, it's interesting. I was chatting in one of our other videos. There was one of our followers chatting about, going defensive end and such like that. And I said, we can't rely on Joey Bosa to have a healthy year for us. So we have to find a way to be able to keep that going and work on the defensive line or defensive end in some level. So same thing goes for our receivers as last year, guys. Like Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, they were really injured all last year. Keenan Allen's getting up there in age. So, and I do think that 619 Cali, I mean, there's a lot of good receivers going to be available in the second and third, in my opinion. So that fit the bill for what we need. So I agree. What else do you guys think, bros?
I was gonna say this. Again, going back to Brandon Staley specifically, what he talks about in the draft, so think of it this way, right? There's probably 4 quarterbacks that are going to be taken before 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at really pick 17 for what we want to get, because we're not going to be drafting a quarterback round 1, of course. We don't need to.
Yep.
Secondarily, what that means, we're really going to be pick 17. So they have probably 15 people on their board. They say, okay, if this person's available, we want this person. Okay, this is who we want. If none of those 15 are available, they'll probably start looking at, okay, let's do a trade back. Let's look at, maybe trading with, the Chiefs have been people. Obviously, the Eagles are people that would want to potentially trade with us, because there's so much depth at the second and third rounds. You could get an awesome tight end and an awesome wide receiver and an awesome running back in second and third, all 3. Easy.
Yep.
So I like the trade back idea as well, too. But if we don't, and again, like I said, I already still think we need a number 1 wide. We need a wide receiver. Like, we're aging out bad, right? In that, and it is expensive. I think Chargers Weekly talked about we're the most heavily veteran-laden team in the league right now.
Big time.
We are aging out badly, guys. And it's. I love the idea of us keeping these veterans around, but veterans get injured. Mm-hmm. And veterans get more and more expensive in the NFL. So we got to get young quick. So again, I like the idea of trading out. And again, if we can, going back to Austin Ekeler, we could trade him out. Man, that would be so sick. It would, he find a good place to land. We're better off, and he's better off, and it is what it is, right? That's that part of the NFL. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with 619 Cali Factor here. It's like, I feel like we should go wide receiver first or second rounds as well. Like, just because we're in that money pit situation, both edge and wide receiver are in the exact same position where one person is old, one person is injury prone on both sides. And so it's like both we're kind of in that problem area where like, okay, we need to find some more reliability here, and who can that be, and like, and how can we fix that? Maybe they fixed it because they have a different strength conditioning person now, and that could be a huge thing. But I mean, yeah, like Andy's right though too. Is like, I mean, we need to get young and we need to get cheaper faster. We need to get some value out of our players moving forward. So
100%.
But yeah, so go ahead. Yeah.
One bit I'm going to say about this whole Austin Ekeler thing, just to put a little fuel on the fire, basically. He did also, when this article came out, Austin Ekeler did put up a story of showing Hurts talking about the Super Bowl stuff and just being like a leader and blah, 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 and like all that kind of stuff. So he did kind of almost in the same sense kind of say, hey, yeah, there is some real idea behind this that I might be able to even go to Philadelphia too. So we'll see what happens, man. But, all around, these veteran guys, well, actually, I'll say this. One thing about this trade that I would really like is that it does free up cap space for us too.
It does
and
too. Yep.
We got a lot of issues next season for cap space. I mean, obviously, Austin Ekeler is not on the payroll next year, but it'll help us this year with obviously the Justin Herbert situation to where we're going to have to pick up a contract or maybe an extension or whatever it's going to happen with him. Which they do, I think, by May 2nd, have to figure out if they're going to pick up the 5th-year option or they're just going to do an extension from this year. So
correct. Yep.
It's going to be an interesting thing to be able to see where this goes. I did see one other trade where we do trade them off for a 7th-round pick, which I think that sounds ridiculous. But even if that did happen and say they take the $7 million or whatever it is of the salary cap, that helps us out in the long terms too. So.
Big time.
And I do think that if we do say get Bijan Robinson in, say, for instance, the 1st round, which I don't believe is going to happen at 21, they don't want to have a confrontation going on in the running back room. So either way, we'll see where it lands with this one. But I do think that we should just kind of move on and chat a little bit about who really truly will be at 21, in my opinion.
It's one thing to wish in one hand and then hope in another, right? At the end of the day, right, you got to be somewhat realistic on these picks. Now, again, people fall, right? And Rashawn Slater wasn't supposed to be there when we picked him up. He was supposed to go much sooner than, at least that's what everyone projected. But Tom did a pretty good job, at least from Chargers Weekly talking about. They said no, he did a pretty good job knowing that he's going to be there.
Yeah, how
he knew, who knows, right? But at the end of the day, it worked out. And actually, do you have that? What was that one? It was breaking down all of Tom Telesco's 1st-round picks. Do you have that meme, James?
Let me see if I can find that one.
Yeah, because that was pretty good. Because I will say this: as much heat as Tom Telesco gets about being a bad GM, he's hit a lot of his 1st-round picks. Right, he really has. Now, Tillery was definitely a disaster.
Kenneth Murray's also pretty much a disaster.
Murray was, and we traded up for that one too. Verrett, you could argue, was a disaster too. But man, when he was on the field, he was so good.
So good.
So good when he was on the field. He just could not stay healthy and was like, oh my God, and again, we grew up in the same area as Jason Verrett, right? Didn't he go to Fairfield High? No, he went to
he went to Rodriguez something. Yeah, so
that's right.
It's a newer school for us. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And oh my, I mean that guy. I think he was on the Niners for a little while too. He's trying to come back, but I mean it's so again, it's not just about Tom Telesco. It's also about the entire staff around him picking players as well. Now, and with Moore being there, Moore is really going to be talking quite a bit about this as well too. There we go. Cool. All right, so let me hide your thoughts here, Kevin. Then we'll just go to this. Okay, so let's look at this. Every AFC West team's last 10 1st-round picks: Zion Johnson, solid; Rashawn Slater, solid; Justin Herbert, solid; Kenneth Murray,
to be determined. I think this is the year he has to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, right? I think this is really his last year. Like he really has to.
Yeah.
He has to step up. Tillery, been a bust. Derwin James, can't say nothing.
The big thing about Jerry Tillery, late 1st-round pick, same thing for Kenneth Murray, because we traded up to go get Kenneth Murray.
Yep.
Jerry Tillery, late 1st-round pick. That's kind of, in my opinion, showing like how the talent goes, tier of talent, I should say, starts to degrade after the round one. So not saying you can't get great players in second to seventh round, even undrafted or anything like that, but it starts to kind of deteriorate the talent pool later in the round. So interesting. But you go back to Derwin James, stud. No, I'm going to say this. We're gonna start this over again, guys. Zion Johnson, dog. Rashawn Slater, dog. Justin Herbert, dog.
He's a dog.
Oh, he's a dog.
He's a dog.
But Derwin James, you know what he does. Mike Williams, he's a very solid player all around. Joey Bosa, he was obviously to play defensive rookie of the year too in 2016.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of things about these players that are very, very good. I mean, first round, we have been pretty good. I mean, you can't hit 100%, by the way. No baseball player has 1,000 batting average and will never have a batting.
No, that's actually me, though. When I play softball, I
get out of here, dude. Get out of here. Get out of here, dude.
Noobs to go home, baby. That's all I do. Noobs to go home. That's all I do.
Dingers.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
This guy has on the back of his jersey, it just says nukes. Nukes.
N-U-K-S.
Ridiculous.
Nukes.
Oh, nukes like straight up a RoboCop.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. RoboCop. We're going way back in our childhood right here.
Deep diving, man.
But again, I think either way. I mean, but it just goes to show you his first picks have been great. Now, I've never been a big fan of trading up. I've never been a big fan of trading up. But I am a fan of trading down, right? Because I do think there's a lot of depth in this draft specifically. So, and again,
here's the wild thing about that is that when I did my little draft thing yesterday, 2 teams were looking to draft with us, the Chargers. So they were trying to draft down. It was the Packers and the Steelers. And I'm like,
well, that's right. Yeah. There we go.
Yep. And so I was like, what the hell? So I was like, I mean, I was tempted to, while I was doing it, to take it. So okay, so we can just draft. But I'm like, I don't really want it, you know?
Yeah.
There's no reason for us Chargers to really want it unless, I mean, I just don't see the point of it right now. Of us a draft up scenario.
No. And Weapon X, maybe he's got some photos of, He
knows how big it is.
Thanos' late night proclivities, who knows, what he gets into later. I mean, these rich people, but all kinds of weird, fetishes they get up into. You know what I mean?
Robert Kraft, he goes to the massage tables.
Rub and tug spot. That's right. Yeah, rub and tug.
Yeah. It seems like that's an issue with a lot of players, even owners and players, I should say, with Deshaun Watson, dude. Woo wee.
DW, boy, that guy's a hoot, dude. I tell you what, boy.
Man,
what a wrong word for it.
Yeah, he's a hoot.
Hey, speaking of which, Fluker, man, is looking yoked now, dude.
Oh man, you see that, dude?
Hey,
he is looking jacked. Man. That's another one that'd be cool to show if we could show that as well too. But okay, so here we go. Let's see. Good question. How would you react if the Chargers traded Ekeler to move up? Man, you got to really want somebody at that moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to want. Hey, who knows? I mean, maybe it happens to the Falcons. We trade away, Ekeler with.
They want a running back apparently. All the fan base are saying Bijan. So why don't we give him Ekeler? And then let's get Kyle Pitts in response.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
plus a pick. Yeah.
I went on the Out of Your Falcon Mind podcast on their 100th episode. By the way, congrats, guys. You guys got to a hundo, man. That's big. But it was really cool. And I was the only Charger player or podcast. I was the only Charger podcaster on there. But, it was interesting because everybody on there was like, yeah, we got to get Bijan. We got to get Bijan. And I was like, man, you guys have, Patterson, who's a really good X factor back.
Yeah.
Electric when he's got the ball in his hands. You got Tyler Algier, who's really good. You got Huntley, too, in the backfield, too. I get it. You guys have a young quarterback, but at the same side at 8, I think you guys could probably pick something else that would probably be more of a need, not a want for you guys.
Like a wide receiver, a big target.
Wide receiver. Maybe some O-line help. Maybe some more defensive line help. Maybe, a stud linebacker for you guys. There's just things that I feel like all these fans get these kind of want picks versus really truly what your needs are.
Yeah, right.
And is Bijan a need? I don't think so, in my opinion. I think Tyler Algier is a very good back for you guys.
Yeah, and he is a tough cookie, man. That dude,
Mm-hmm.
he was a converted linebacker, did a great job, poke holes in the line, and he's a beast, man. He's hard to bring down. So yeah. And again, I think you're right, Weapon X, right? I really don't think that there's a chance that we're going to see Bijan. I mean, it'd be great if he was there. I mean, I'd love it, but I don't think so. It's just not going to happen. I mean, but you really you never know how it plays out. By the way, guys, just before we continue on, we are going to be continuing to do a bunch of videos working up to the mock draft or the actual draft. Pardon me. We are going to go live for the draft party. We probably should actually get that thumbnail up too, Kyle. Kind of get ourselves ready to go for that because we are going to go live for the draft. So you can hop on. We're going to be on for the entire first round because it's exciting for us. And I'm going to watch all of the rounds as well too. I mean, I'm kind of a couch potato about that stuff, but I think it's always interesting to see where people go and where we want to go with it. So
I'm trying to go to the draft party here in LA.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how I can actually make that work. I think I'll probably have to just be on my phone in here and stuff, and I'll have like my earbuds so I can actually hear. Unlike Captain Jack, he was just like his phone and like didn't listen. You ain't gonna be hearing my ear. I'm like, what's that? What's that?
With his eye patch and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try to figure it out. If it doesn't work out though, I may just like set up in like my office and just be like there because I don't know, it's a really busy week. Of course, and so I'm stoked for the draft as well. So I'm hoping that I can actually be there at the event, and if I can, and then I'll maybe have other people kind of like talking and here and there too. So it'll be fun.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, good.
So who do you guys feel would truly be there at 21? It's wild because I was just looking at, and once again, we don't know. Drafts are highly unpredictable. All around.
Very unpredictable. Yep.
Very unpredictable. And I was just looking at a mock draft on CBS Sports where they got us picking Julius Brents, a cornerback from Kansas State, 6'3" cornerback, which
you're like, okay.
Do we really need another cornerback unless J.C. Jackson is really that out, which I think he's looking really, really good and progressing extremely well.
Yep.
I think sometime this year we'll be able to get him. I mean, Mike Davis is another guy that, just throw that out there too, guys. Like Mike Davis, he's on his last year of his contract, had a great year last year. Say if we do draft a cornerback, would we trade off Mike Davis? Would we do something like that? I think that's a little risky in my opinion. But with this mock draft, I see that Bijan is going to get picked at like 26 by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't really know. It's highly unpredictable. Where we're at. I mean, I've seen Brian Branch even get up to 21 for us. Brian Brees being another defensive lineman guy. This is all unpredictable.
Well, so so Brandon Staley said it best, right? If you go back to what he said about at the owners meeting, where he basically said, look, everyone has a different draft board. Everyone has different needs, right? And some teams only draft for what they need, right? I need a quarterback. I need a wide receiver. I need a running back. And they itemize, okay, who's my number one guy at this position? You just get them, and then you go to the next one.
Yeah.
Fill them. Now, there's other teams, I think, really like the Chargers, I think, who don't really have a lot of needs. You could argue we really don't have a lot of needs, right? If our team stays healthy, we are fine. Right, we really are fine, but that's not realistic in the NFL. The way the NFL is. So the thought is get best available player. Who could start with one? And so I think there's two different ways of looking at it. Every team up ahead of us is going to think differently about the draft their own way, right? And so again, it's really going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, right? And again, if there are four quarterbacks taken in front of us, that puts us at 17. You could even have a fifth. You never know, right? Might want that, right? So a lot of factors. So these mock drafts are kind of interesting, but they're also very, very good. But let's pull up that list of some of the folks that we think are going to be there for us potentially.
I didn't really. I was more talking points than less on a list.
So I mean, I know,
Yeah.
Kincaid might be there, right? Mayer should
Yeah.
be there. I know Zay Flowers is the one everyone keeps talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous on him because he's small, but I like the idea of the vertical threat, right?
Sure.
But he is putting on some weight as well too, which is a good
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
I mean, that guy, could be really interesting as well too. But
Right.
man, I still keep going back to the trade down scenario. I would just love more picks. We keep talking about aging out, and oh my gosh, we are just aging out so bad right now. And it's weird. We keep bringing in more veterans, right? And I'm like, okay, I get it, but you're kind of just kicking the can down the road. And I don't know. It feels like, when are these rookies going to get an opportunity to play? That's what I get more frustrated with.
Well, it's interesting because the linebacker position, we really have almost no depth. Drew's gone. The other guy that we got from the Rams last year, who was pretty much primarily
Reader,
was what's that?
Troy Reader.
Reader, Troy Reader took off too. I mean, we have like Nick Neiman, who I think he could be a pretty good guy all around. I think that he's one of those guys that could fill in the gap, but we do need a linebacker out there too. So it is kind of a tough thing for us. Like, I was looking at players that are available. I mean, interesting thing enough, on this CBS mock draft, Kalijah Cansey wasn't even picked in the first round at all.
Which is crazy.
How is that possible? How is that possible? The guy with the metrics and his athletic score is through the roof.
Yeah.
That guy, I understand he's a little undersized and everything, but you cannot look past what he potentially could do for your defensive line. A guy that has the metrics of Aaron Donald, basically came from the same school as Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Almost for stature wise, literally Aaron Donald. Like you would take that chance, in my opinion. And I think that fits extremely well for the Chargers if you get him at 21, because if you pair him up, say, with a Morgan Fox at that position, you kind of start looking at the team A, team B on the defensive line. You got your Sebastian Joseph Day, your Austin Johnson, team A, or you could kind of fill in Cansey on whatever times or needs you might need him as a pass rush kind of guy or whatnot. And then you could say you got Morgan Fox, Cansey, and then you got a Tito Abonia also behind them too. So it's like that would make that defensive line really, really strong for us all around. So I think it'd be great to be able to get that. But then going back to Andy's argument too, like if Zay Flowers is there, you get an electric guy that could be just a game changer for our wide receiver position all around.
Yep.
I mean, it would be insane. Yeah, exactly, Robert. Putting him next to Bosa and Mack, dude.
So sick.
When was the last time we had a guy that could really attack the middle of the defensive line, offensive line?
And not only that, like Mack and Bosa do a great job of setting the edge. They are very good at keeping the people corralled and then putting them into the meat of the line. So I think it's really interesting how this is all playing out, right? Because, oh boy. So let me show you something that I just pulled up. I thought was pretty interesting. This is a mock draft that I pulled up, and I was looking at it earlier this morning. So the mock draft it's a 7-round mock draft on the NFL Network here. And you got us picking Dalton Kincaid, which I wouldn't be mad about that, right?
Nope.
I mean, I think that guy could be great. I mean, the dude's catch rate, I saw him play a lot in college, and that guy has amazing catch radius. Right? He's fantastic. And I will say this, he'd pair well with Herbert. But look at this. The Ravens, Jackson Smith in Jiba, right? And then we got Zay Flowers. So in this
I don't want him to go to the Chiefs.
That's my point, right? But look at this. You got Dalton Kincaid, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you got Zay Flowers. Whoa, dude. And you just kind of step back and just say, man, like that's such. And this is partially why I like the idea of trading back, because I feel like if you trade back just even a couple spots, you can still find a couple of good tight ends. I mean, this is a deep tight end class, and I almost don't think you should get a tight end for your first pick. I think you should get a wide receiver for this first pick, just because there's not as many good, like a Jackson Smith in Jigba. Is it in Jigba? I always say it wrong.
I don't even know. Yeah. I just go with the JSN.
This guy was just telling me right here. This guy's cracking me up. He's like missing his front teeth and everything. This guy's hilarious. so funny, dude. Like that guy's all over the map, dude. But anyways, my point is like, again, it's a crapshoot. You just got to wonder like who's going to go where.
Yeah.
And there's so much about it that you just don't know, right? And every team has their own board. Every team has their own desires of where they want to go. But, I find it really interesting. So I'm going to do a little more digging as we talk. So anyways.
Sure.
So, okay, maybe we should put it in the chat here, guys. Okay, why not this? Dalton Kincaid or Jackson Smith in Jigba or Zay Flowers, right? So just on this one specific draft, all three are going to be on the board. Who would you pick? Maybe I'll go with you, James and Kyle, and see what you think. And then and I like Njigba because I think he's really good.
Yep.
Arguably probably one of the better overall wide receivers all around in the draft. Man, I don't know, man. That guy's so good.
So,
and you could get somebody later down the road.
Yeah, so I was going to say is that like I did a little bit of research on this, but statistically, tight ends in the first round don't turn out too well.
Yes, I've heard that too. Yep.
There's not been many tight ends in the first round that have been picked that have historically done super well. I'm sure there are a few, but typically third to fifth round is when the tight ends actually are like statistically the best when it comes to draft. I don't know why. I don't know why that makes sense in any way. So I'm actually leaning far away from tight end first round.
Yeah.
And so for me too, like over Zay Flowers or JSN, I would say JSN. If he's available there, 100%, we got to get him.
Yeah.
But realistically, I don't see him being there. Zay Flowers very well could, because the PFF has Zay Flowers like ranked like 33rd now. I think it's because there's a lot of talk of his size being an issue.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, so that's kind of the route that I would see. But hey, if Cansey is available, I say we take a chancey, baby.
Oh my gosh, Chancey, take a chancey. I like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, all right.
New shirt coming. If we get it, that's it, baby.
Chancey, take a Yancey. Chancey, yeah. That would be, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like people are very, very hung up on just like, we need to go offense first round and we need a guy that's very speedy. Don't get me wrong. I think Zay Flowers is awesome. I kind of had this weird feeling that the Patriots are going to go for him around the 17th pick.
I see that a lot too. Yep.
They need stretchers. I know they have Thornton out there who they drafted last year, tall, lanky, kind of speedy guy, which I was pretty high on him last season. And I believe the Chargers met with him too. He did get injured, but he's kind of a speedier downfield guy. But I think they really kind of want a guy that could be a little bit more of a field stretcher. Hence, he's from Boston College, obviously being close to around where the Patriots are at. It makes sense. Now, the thing about it is like, I'm looking at it as like, you could get wide receivers that are speedy guys, Mims from Oklahoma. You could probably get him in third round. A.T. Perry is one of the guys they talked about on the Chargers podcast too, who I think is a very good kind of sizable guy that Telesco likes to go after, taller kind of guy with a little bit of speed and everything too. Jalen Guyton is there for a reason, guys. And I do think that we do need to get another speedy guy to be able to pair up with him a lot. But I'm going to share one thing with you guys. Like, I'm much bigger about going on a defensive side of things. Like, Cansey makes a lot of sense to me. Like, he makes a lot of sense because he really stabilizes the D-line a little bit more. Big, stout kind of guy that can really do phenomenal things that our defensive line has not been able to do for the last 20 years, give or take, since Jamal Williams, basically. I would go with him. But I'm going to show you this. This is from Steve Smith's podcast. He kind of gave a little bit of an idea of where he feels like these players are currently at right now, ranked wise and everything too. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit more for you.
I was like, whoo. My reading glasses out here.
Where's that meme with the grandma? Like,
yeah. What is going on here? I can't even read that. but these are guys that are going to be the top receivers in this draft. Yeah. And these are guys that are actually going to be potentially in the top 3 rounds, basically. Yep. So Zay Flowers going up, he's only going up right now. Steve Smith reminds me a lot of Zay Flowers, or I should say vice versa. Jackson Smith, he's just a solid guy all around. Could be kind of a replacement for Keenan Allen for us. Same thing for Jordan Addison.
Yep.
Xavier Smith is one of those guys, and he came out of the HBCU game as like the MVP of that game. That guy could be a big sleeper, man. Seems like a really good dude. Just great body control. That's the one thing that Steve Smith talked about. Good receivers are ones that have great body control. And this is one of those guys that could be a big sleeper all around with Xavier Smith out of Florida MU. So I think he's a phenomenal guy. I'm just saying these are guys that we could go after. Tank Dell is another guy who would be great as a speed downfield kind of guy and a punt returner, kick returner for us too. So we do need that. So these are guys that we got to think about here, that you got to stop hanging yourself up that, hey, we have to go with Zay Flowers on 21, or we have to. There's guys out there that could be great fits for you. But once again, this draft is a complete crapshoot. There's no guarantees by any means for any of these guys that they're going to be high-level talent by any means.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and again, remember last season, I know we're talking about wide receivers now, but remember last season who I wanted for our first-round pick was a big old Davis from Georgia, that a big old offensive lineman, dude.
That's right.
Then went to the Eagles. I was so pissed off that they got him, and I was like, man, like I wanted that guy because that guy, I had a man crush on him, dude. I was like, yo, this guy is like ridiculous. Because our run stuff in game is horrible. I mean, we always play light boxes, as we all know. Yeah. But we need someone to just clog the middle, just jump the nose, and just blow up the play. And so, I love the idea of a defensive tackle as well too. But I understand. We also need I also think from a dollar perspective, we've already talked about this. Our wide receivers and our edges are aging out, and they're getting way expensive. So we need both of those guys as well. Let me pull up this other one that this one I saw this one earlier. I was actually going to do a video on it. This is another mock draft I thought was pretty good. I wouldn't be unhappy with this one, but this was done a while ago. So first round, we got Nolan Smith. Now, I will say this about Nolan Smith. He will probably be available there. The problem with Nolan Smith is Brandon Staley likes a bigger bodied guy. He's a little small. I mean, he's he's what, 240, I think is what he is, right? So you look at him and go, okay, yeah, I get it. He's a freak of nature. I mean, he's like a Derwin James type guy, right?
Yeah.
But running edge in the NFL, it's a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And then we get Cedric Tillman from Tennessee, another good person. We get a center from Wisconsin, Joe Tippmann. Again, I think it'd be good because, I don't know. I mean, we got Clapp back, and Clapp wasn't that great, right? Then we get a defensive lineman from LSU, LeSue, and then a cornerback, Trey from Purdue, or Corey Trice from Purdue. Pretty good. Another defensive tackle from Texas. I mean, look at that big boy. Man, look at the leg on that. God,
buddy, dude, those are some straight thighs, bro.
Man, double 9. Let's get it, baby. I mean, good Lord. Now, here's the funny thing about this. I partially bring this one up, too, because this guy right here, Travis Dye, is blowing up on people's – I wouldn't say he's blowing up on people's boards.
Yeah.
But he could be the next Isaiah Pacheco. A lot of people really think very highly of him. He didn't get a lot of touches at USC, but a lot of people think he could be really good. So, anyways, I wouldn't be unhappy with this. I think this is a very realistic mock draft in what could happen this season.
One thing I was going to say about Dye, too, he showed up at the Chargers, and I did a video on this talking about players that we have met with. He was at the local talent pool for Chargers, basically. Yep. And the thing is, though, big thing in the talk about Travis Dye actually came from Oregon, played with Justin Herbert at Oregon, by the way. Yeah, so there is that connection there, too. Transferred to USC, had a highly productive season there, too. Apparently at this, local tryout, basically for the Chargers, draft potential and everything, he ran into the 4.4s for his 40.
Yeah.
That's what changed people's mind a little bit about this guy. And I think Travis Dye would be a phenomenal, once again, Isaiah Pacheco kind of pickup potentially for us. I think it'd be great. By the way, Robert said something about, I think he's going defensive line, wide receiver, edge. I think that's literally the blueprint, in my opinion. I think those are the right picks for this team.
Yeah.
To be able to really just build up those positions of need because, dude, we suck against the run, period. Yeah. We're terrible against it. And we cannot figure out how to stop it, regardless of how much money we keep throwing at that position.
Yeah.
We need to have a guy. Once again, take a chancey on Yancey, bro. Like, let's go. I mean, we need to get a guy that could just blow up the line, dude. I mean, and he could be that guy, a wide receiver next year. Dude, we got way too much money tied up in wide receivers, and we got a Justin Herbert contract that we have to sign. Defensive end, same thing. We got to find a guy that could fill up those positions and be a high-performing player for us. So, I think that's exactly the blueprint and the right choice for needs of this team. So, yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I like this guy, Ika from Baylor, I believe, is where he played. Yeah, that guy.
I think it was he Ika? Oh, yeah, Baylor. Yeah. Butt and gut.
Gut. And there's another guy from USC that trying to blank on his name, top of my mind here. But, I mean, so many stinking names, just
he's a Polynesian too, right?
Yeah, Polynesian guy as well. That guy. And again, linebackers we're looking thin guys, so I guess my point is, part of what I think this video, at least in my opinion, is that, look, I know we want wide receivers, we want tight ends, we want these like flashy weapons for Herbert, but he's already got a lot of flashy weapons as well right now. I mean, as we stand now, the offense is pretty well set as long as people can stay healthy. I think that's the concern. But we also need to get younger, right? So the argument is, okay, we should probably get another wide receiver. I mean, there's only so many packages you can put wide receivers on the field as well, too, right? I mean, we already got 4 good wide receivers, right? You got your Allen Williams, Guyton, and then Palmer. Well, there's not a whole lot of room left in that room, and so it's
and that's kind of the argument against wide receivers for sure,
100%.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as a fan, you think, well, we're aging out. We need somebody for the future. And again, Williams and Allen have been hurt a lot, and they've made some problems. And Robert, you're right. Marvin Mims in the second round would be amazing too. So again, this is partially why I keep going back to this. Every time I do these mock scenario conversations, or mock draft, scenario conversations in my mind, I always think trade back. You can get great value in the second and third rounds. Yep. I mean, that guy like Laporta is looking amazing too as a tight end, right? You could get him probably late second round. Let's say we trade Ekeler away. We get another second and third or something like that, or a late first. And oh my gosh, I mean, that would just be, it would be so good for us. So much that needs to happen there.
And another honestly possibility too is that nobody's really talking about is, which we all wanted last year too, is right tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Pipkins stepped up in a big way. And we did re-sign him or whatever, but like, I mean, is he really the answer? He was injured quite often as well. And we had to throw in Storm Norton still. Every once in a while.
Ponytail.
Yeah. Well, like speed bump 2.0, on the offensive side, so it's like, right tackle is a huge need as well for the team still as well.
Yeah.
So
it is an interesting thing because I know it seems like a lot of the O-line guys have been working together this offseason with Mayweather, just about kind of like tactics of how to get better. I mean, Foster Sarella has been working out with them too. I think Brandon James might even be in there too. Andrew Traynor is kind of listed as our right tackle right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the thing about it is like Foster Sarella, like he was not great, but just manageable. But if he's working out with all our guys, and Trey Pipkins started working out with him last year with Rashawn Slater, and that made a world of difference of his game.
Right.
I mean, I think Brandon Staley even chatted about it. He says, hey, we feel pretty good about our O-line guys. And
we do.
I'm not saying we won't go after a guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's not like we're not going to pick up somebody, because we definitely need to make sure we have a pretty good set of guys there. But I don't think they're going to put anybody at a very high level at the right tackle position, in my opinion. I think it's a luxury if we go after and get a high level right tackle. I mean, I've said it for a while, guys. Last year, for us getting 2 starting O-linemen in one draft, that is unheard of, basically, to have. I mean, that's massive for us to be able to get Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer when we did. I mean, I have no idea why Jamari Sawyer was so late in the draft. That made no sense at all. But
well, he didn't play for a whole season. That was like the big knock against him. So the thought was, is he going to be game ready? But again, so this brings up an interesting argument, and I've said this on a few of my videos that in the NFL, you don't get a lot of time with coaches. Brandon Staley talked about that quite a bit because the collective bargaining agreement, people get injured during practice, all the above. So what happens now is this. Remember, you guys all know that I interviewed Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer was at a camp. He is at a camp playing football, catching balls, figuring out different ways, route running, all the above. This is things that they are doing on their own dime and their own time to get better, to be ready to play, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a very different conversation now in the NFL because these coaches have less time to really coach up these players.
Yep.
So if they don't pick it up quick, then they don't really do well, right? And think about this, right? Rashawn Slater's going to the same – I think the entire offensive line is going to the same school that Rashawn Slater went to during that offseason.
Yeah.
So they're very high. I can't remember what was the name of the school that he was at. I'm drawing a blank. Someone said it in one of our chats. But anyways, that's been an amazing offensive line camp to go to. But this is a good question here by Daryl. So maybe, James, you want to go with it, and then I'll go to Kyle, and then I'll kind of fill in the gap on this one as well, too. What do you think of this question here?
So do you believe that there would be a defensive tackle at 21, that justifies passing on a wide receiver, tight end, or edge? Yeah, and I mean, we're all about that Kancey train,
Yeah.
Woo, woo. So I think
he's there. Yeah.
If he's there, that would be great. I mean, once again, I looked at the CBS Sports mock draft that they had this morning, and he wasn't even in the first round. So is that a little bit of a reach for us to do that? If he does fall that far down, I don't personally think he's going to fall down that far, in my opinion. I think the Steelers have a great chance of wanting to go after him.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you think maybe if Brees is there, Brian Brees, which I've seen some mock drafts of him being there, and he is a first-round kind of talent guy, big body kind of guy, bigger dude, massive looking dude. Maybe that's where it's at, but I have to believe that Telesco and Staley have, hey, these are our top 20 dudes. There's probably a list for defensive tackles, wide receivers, tight ends, so on and so forth. All right, well, that guy's gone, that one's gone. All right, this is pretty much going to be the guy for us based upon our first pick choice. And if it's going to be a defensive tackle, great. Once again, Kalijah didn't even take any interviews at all, meetings with any team at all, like none. Like, I think he's just like letting himself just be, hey, you know what I got? You know what I could bring to the team. So, so kind of a long answer. I think there's a couple guys that could justify that choice at 21 for a defensive tackle.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, too, is like just because he didn't actually have an official meeting with teams, like go there and actually kind of like walk around and stuff like that, doesn't mean that he still hasn't done like Zoom meetings and phone calls and things like that, because Bijan Robinson actually talked about that recently, where he only actually officially had 2 meetings. I think it was the Bucks and the Eagles. But he did talk to more people than that, just like with Zoom and stuff like that. So a lot of people say, oh, you only met with 2 people. No, he met with a lot more people. And I think all of them are doing that, but he just hasn't traveled so much. So, but okay. So to get to the question, I think honestly, if Kancey is available, we got to take that chancey. Like
we got to take that chancey.
Yeah, because over a wide receiver at edge. Because here's the thing, he's on the PFF big board. He's currently ranked number 2 overall. When it comes to wide receivers, by the time it gets to our 21st pick, we're going to be looking at maybe like the number 4 or 5 overall wide receiver on the board, potentially like 4 or 5 for edge, and we might be looking at the number 1 tight end at that point, but. Like I said, I'm not high on tight ends for first round anymore. Like I could see maybe a second rounder for a tight end, but and so that's kind of my opinion is that if Kancey is available for 21 pick overall, we gotta go Kancey.
Got it.
Well, I think what wasn't last year? Didn't they have like 10 wide receivers drafted in the first round or something?
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. A third of the first round was wide receivers. Yeah. So my point is that's what the NFL cares about: edge rushers, wide receivers,
right?
Maybe an outlier, number 1 center or lineman or whatever, right? But again, there's a lot to be said about this. And Kevin, this is interesting. Your question: who trades up to the Chargers for 21? Scenario: quarterback starts slipping, someone moves up. There's an interesting mock draft that I was actually just looking at a little while ago. and I thought it was pretty interesting. I'll share this with you real quick. New Orleans trades up to get, and then we trade down the 29th pick. Let me share my screen on this one as well too. But I think it could happen, right? Again, quarterback. You're exactly correct. If quarterbacks start slipping, you know, a lot of people like Robinson from Florida. Florida, look, the guy had one. What was most coaches like to see at least a 2-year starter, right? They want to see them play a number of games. I think he was only a 1-year starter and kind of bounced around. Yeah, he's a bit of a freak of nature, but he also could be a bit of a freak of like a person, and so you're adding a lot of risk to this. Okay, so this one's interesting right here. So this one was done a little while ago. I think this was done a couple days ago. Let's see, March. Okay, 26. So this is a little older, but basically the New Orleans Saints trade up and they get 29 and 71 and 165. So we got all kinds of picks now. We get an edge rusher. We get all kinds of we get a running back. And then we get all these other players. So I think there's a lot of teams that would want to trade for this 21st pick, especially if there's some people on the board that they really want. And, I could totally see that happening quite often. In fact, I had a trade scenario where the Chiefs wanted to trade a very similar trade to us as well, too, because they have a lot of picks as well. So I think a lot of interesting things could really happen on this.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm going to say one thing about like the 21, the scenario for the quarterback situation. I mean, it's interesting. I saw some stuff come up that's saying that Will Levis is now being known as the number 2 quarterback being picked, and CJ Stroud basically kind of dropping at this point. And it's going to be interesting all around how it ends up panning out. And I have seen CJ Stroud getting thrown way out into the draft. I don't think he'll go to 21 all the way. I mean, thinking of maybe like even just thinking of like, I don't know, Patriots for some reason, if they want to kind of get away from Mac Jones, because there's kind of some rumors that they're throwing Mac Jones out there to try to trade the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know where he would go, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean, who knows what's really going to happen here, guys? So like, I don't know. Will Levis being at a 2, being as the second quarterback picked is kind of wild, because I feel like that guy's a little bit of an egotistical kind of guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I agree.
I kind of was thinking the Raiders are actually go after him. I mean, Anthony Richardson's another guy that I think could be a freak athlete. Yep. And I think he would be really, really exciting to see on the field. And I think he would be awesome for the Colts. But then if it goes like, if Levis is 2, then Anthony at 3, where is CJ Stroud going to go? Is anybody going to really want to actually go that high up and trade for him? Does he go to the Lions at 8? Now that throws things off a little bit at like Bijan Robinson not going to the Lions, or I think it's Lions 7 or 8 or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think there's 6 and 18.
6 and 18. So that even throws in where CJ Stroud probably could be. That's probably the furthest back he'll fall back. So if that's the case, I don't think he'll go at 21. I don't think anybody has a quarterback, but you could be talking about anybody and everybody. It could be a wide receiver, it could be a tight end, could be something else too. So that's a lot of content for just answering a question right now. I mean, you can really dig into that one quite a bit. So
yeah. Well, and again, as we always discuss, right? I mean, the draft day is always so interesting, right? And again, we started the show by talking about Austin Ekeler potentially going to the Eagles, right? I mean, who knows, right? That could happen. And, there was another team that was talking about it too. Was it the Falcons? No, it wasn't the Falcons. There was another team that we had the Bills. Bills had a similar scenario where we trade back with the Bills. And that would make some sense too, right? Because you could trade back with the Bills and just get a pretty similar pick, but we could get maybe a second and a third, or maybe a second now and a fifth or something like that, right? So, again, a lot of things could happen with Austin Ekeler, so to me, again, I'm really curious to see how it plays out for the Chargers. I think a lot of things could happen. So let's get to Aether's questions here. This is for you, Andrew. I want to you want to trade down. Let's say Flowers on the board, and the Chiefs will give a 31 and a 65. Will you do it? And they're taking Flowers. I am not. Boy, that's a tough one, Aether. I mean, it really is. So let me think about this for a second. First and foremost, I don't like to do trades with division rivals.
No.
Yeah. Personally,
especially the Chiefs.
Especially the Chiefs, right? I mean, so that would make me pause no matter what, right? And a guy like Flowers with someone like a Mahomes, that's like the rebirth of Tyreek Hill, right? You know,
and did work out individually with Mahomes this week too.
Yeah.
Not good.
So I think that one I would probably say no. And I would say no from more of a bias perspective, just because we don't want Mahomes having more of those types of talent. Now, again, you can argue all day, right? Well, it doesn't really matter because Mahomes is that good, and they're going to find players to score off, anyways. But now, if it's someone's like the Saints, the Bills, okay, cool, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? But when you start talking the Chiefs and who they're going to go get, it's a little bit of a kick in the cojones, right? Right in the castañas. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of that at all. Like of trading with the Chiefs in any way. Like, I mean, I would be more inclined to trade with the Saints, and maybe the Bills. I guess like if that was a scenario there,
maybe the Raiders, because nobody cares about the Raiders, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've done that one before, but let's be honest though too, is like we have the worst track record on our players going to division rivals, like all the time. Constantly. So no, thank you. Like let's not kind of feed into that any more than we can. Please.
And I hate having something like that, and especially in a trade scenario. Obviously, you think, man, I'd get another second out of this guy. I could basically, give somebody to the Chiefs. You just don't want to make them stronger at all. Like you want to find a way to weaken your opponent. And sometimes you pick players to be able to not get them on a team, I guess, in your division. And Andy Reid, to me, has been one of those guys that has just found ways to be able to troll the Chargers and pick players and such that just ends up burning us. So, like, for instance, back in 2017 when he picked Patrick Mahomes, he even talked about, man, I swear the Chargers were going to pick him up, and we ended up going Mike Williams. And in my opinion, during that time, Phillip Rivers has been a great quarterback for us, but up to that point, I feel like he kind of was not at the level of where he should have been, and that's a latter part. Sunsetting his career, in my opinion, at that point. He wasn't that guy getting those clutch catches or throwing those clutch throws to be able to get games into winning positions. He was throwing a lot more picks, trying to force things. I was kind of thinking, hey, we should have gone after a quarterback during that time, and it sounded like Chargers were being thought that they were going to pick Patrick Mahomes and did not. And what did the Chiefs do? Traded up to go get him, and you know where they're at now because of Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
Right.
That's harsh to see. I don't want to see Zay Flowers going over there and just being Tyreek Hill number 2. And he fits extremely well to the mold, even based upon his weight currently right now, with size, speed. He's a little bit slower than Tyreek, but what I'm saying is that he will basically be the second coming of Tyreek Hill for them.
He will be.
Not good.
Oh yeah, well, and again, and you bring up a really good point here. This is a great question here. Actually, you guys are throwing out some really good thoughts. I really appreciate. No, you really are. I mean, this is great. Again, guys, just we are going to be going live on the draft party as well. So we are going to first round. I don't think we'll do the second round. Well, I don't know. I guess depending on how much fun we have doing it, maybe we'll do the second round. We'll do it's just a lot of work.
We'll do a recap video on the draft, I think, for sure.
Okay.
Like, I mean, maybe Saturday or Sunday, but bro, aren't you going to be here that week, this weekend?
I fly in on the 29th. So
okay.
So no, sorry, that's Saturday. No, it's Saturday. So what day is that? I'll be in LA.
Yeah. Okay.
So Saturday. So I'll be there for the first round. Yeah. So keep these thoughts coming, guys. Bowl prediction. It's going to happen Thursday. James talked about it. So what was that, James, that you guys talked about?
What's going to happen on Thursday? Oh yeah. Here, let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
So this is great too, Marcus. We just need a receiver that has explosive yak exclusive. I agree. And again, last season under Lombardi, it was really about just moving the chains. And I was just so frustrated that we just never got yards after the catch. You just catch the ball, fall on the ground. Like, come on, dude. And it's just, you can't win in the NFL that way. Right. And it's frustrating. What sucks is that the second and third round pick is a first rounder, the perfect trade down scenario. You see, and I agree. I mean, I think
Yeah.
This is why I like the idea of trading back in this draft. I've said it so many times, but I just think there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of needs that we personally can use in the second and third round if we have more picks. So, here we go. This is I think you just threw it out there, James.
Oh,
Chargers give up next year's first and fourth to Atlanta for this third year. Kyle Pitts, the unicorn would burn powder blue. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know, man. I mean, that really adds another guy to this team. I mean, Kyle Pitts is a good player all around. But, it's weird when I said that on the Outer Falcon Mind podcast, they kind of looked at me like, that's kind of a crazy idea. Like, that's weird to think about. Like, everybody's like, this Charger Jamoke over here is trying to tell us what to do kind of thing. I mean, I'm in the Lions den at that point.
Yeah.
But, get the fool off. Get the fool out of here.
Kick him out, dude. What is he even doing here? Kind of thing. So I don't know. It's like the Falcons have a good chance to be able to take that division next year. And it's a very wide open division. And so trying to find ways to strengthen that team up for the longevity. I mean, their coach Smith, is it Arthur Smith? He's an offensive minded kind of guy too. And so he would like to be able to find ways to be able to get more weapons on that team. I think they focused a lot on defense for the most part for free agency, but pulling away a guy like Pitts with a young quarterback, it's tough to say if that's going to happen or not. It's tough to say if that's going to happen or not.
And that's the thing that's so exciting about the draft is you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Look, there are scenarios happening across the board right now. I promise you right now. Like, let's say the Bills. Okay, let's see. B. John Robinson gets picked up sooner. Yeah. Okay, well that's how does that affect my division? Well, okay, we need a running back now. Fine, all right. I'm going to trade my pick and I'm going to do this and that and whatever, right? And so even how picks happen in your division, it could cause you to make changes moving forward, right? So what's that old Chinese proverb? A small pebble makes small ripples or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it affects the whole pond. That was stupid. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, let's move on.
I'm like, oh, yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Andrew?
You started good, but then you just kind of like.
Guys, I'm having camera issues. Something's going on here. Guys. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Okay, anyways, moving on. So Larry had a good question here. So if we were to pick a defensive tackle or edge rusher in the 21st pick, who would you guys want, man? Nolan Smith, I think the guy's a freak of nature, but again, he's probably not the right body type for Brandon Staley, I would say. Small. But can't see.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say this though too. Someone actually put the bad juju that maybe Cansey will be Tillery speed bump 2.0.
Oh, man.
Yeah, don't be putting that out there.
I'll be like, oh, please
don't put that curse on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, don't you wish that evil upon me?
See, now this is an interesting one right here, Robert. So, who's the player you'd be willing to move up for, and why? I can't think of anybody that we would really need to move up for. Again, I'm such a big believer in trading back that I'm probably the wrong person to, because I can't think of one person I'd say. Who?
Jalen Carter.
Yeah. Okay.
If I could trade up for somebody, Jalen Carter, I guess.
Man, but he would cost. Yeah. What would he cost?
Top 5. Draft pick at least.
Brutal, that's a brutal.
Be a lot. That'd be a lot. Miles Murphy might be another guy you think about too.
Yep.
Just because of the edge side of things, Tyree Wilson would be another guy you'd think about. I just don't think that we're going to do something like that. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't think that we would do that much unless we're really sitting here saying, hey, look, let's just go get a dog that we know is going to fit our needs. But you gotta think even to say next year.
Yeah.
We need like a barking dog or something.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
We need to add that.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out how we can add to this thing. Yeah. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I was going to say it would be an interesting thing for us to say we trade off future picks of like next year. I mean, we've been talking about it at a nauseum level of what our salary cap is next year. It's not good. It's not going to be good. Well, if we do trade off picks of, say, 2024 draft, that's less money that we have to put on our cap. for us next season. So there is kind of an idea that if we did say we decided to jump up on a player or something like that, it wouldn't be a bad idea if we just know that we have a very solid edge player for us, or very solid.
Yeah.
And I don't think we trade up for a wide receiver. I think edge or defensive line would probably be the only position that we'd probably say, hey, we're going to jump up to get this guy. Or I'm not trying to put more fuel on the fire, but like if Bijan Robinson really is going to be up at a top 10 pick, do we really want to go after him? And then we trade off Austin Ekeler, get some more draft capital, possibly for next year or this year or whatever, or flip that pick to go back into the first round, whatever. There's a lot of different scenarios that could happen with that. But what my point is that next year, we're not going to have a great cap situation.
No, it's going to be ugly.
It's going to be tough to pay more young guys,
Yeah. We need some young bucks in there. Okay. So,
and really that's why trading draft down, not trading up, but trading down is the best move. If we can get more picks out of the second and third round, basically more top 100 players, then that would put us in the best position for the future, I believe.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this interesting thought here, Marcus talks about. I really think the defensive back is elite day 1 and 2. Man, I love those guys. Branch is from Bama, I believe, correct?
Yeah,
I believe Bama. So
yeah,
I like him a lot. But Brandon Staley's high on JT Woods, so I don't know. You got to kind of wonder, where that's going to sit. But I think there's a lot of value in a lot of these positions. Plus, I mean, we got Taylor, we got Dean Leonard. These are all there. These are people that are in the system that we liked. So it could be tough to see that. Now, that's partially why I think the argument is more of a wide receiver or tight end, because we don't have a lot of depth there. And, that would give, we drafted very heavily in defensive back last season.
Sure.
I mean, heavy last season. So I don't know that's what we're going to go after, but I ain't mad about that either, because it makes a lot of sense to me as well.
Yep. Yeah, Branch is one of those guys that I keep thinking, what if he is there at 21 for us?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we do have a need for that position, Nas is gone, right?
Yeah, Nas is gone.
We kind of potentially could throw him over there and get in a potential elite safety pairing with Derwin James. I mean, I've always felt like Brandon Staley's philosophy is build the back end of the defense and less on the front end of the defense.
Yeah.
And he wants to have these guys that are just ball hawks in the back.
Yeah.
Which, you think of that philosophy, you think, well, if you could just have guys that can know how to cover and make sure the guy can't throw, well, you're going to get a coverage sack, probably. There's more likely that's going to happen. So I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you this. We can never predict what the Chargers are going to do. Last year was a perfect example. Zion Johnson came out of nowhere.
What the hell?
Who?
I don't even think I looked at this dude the entire time of the 2022 draft.
Yep.
Like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. So it's unpredictable.
Well, so this is good, dude. The rump shaker, you're right, is probably not going to be the answer, but I will say this, you never know. It'll be his third year. And we'll see what happens, but you're exactly right. I just don't think that that's really going to be the situation here. So there was another thought here. I think this is great. We need a dog, not a chihuahua. Where's that little laugh track?
That's right.
Anyways, but that's a really good point, right? Because bottom line, you need some. I mean, Speed Bump was definitely a chihuahua, right? So okay. So let's see. We got Aether's question here. So all right. So I think this is to Kyle and your thoughts, my baby. I think Herbert contract is
That's right.
The years right now, my baby. And hold, I believe money is set to 45 to 8 year. The Bolts want to do a 5-year. Agents would want 8, I believe. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's going to be at least what Jalen Hurts gets, right? If not more. Again, do you want to lock him up more? The argument for having a shorter amount is that you get to get paid again twice, right?
Yeah.
And you'll get paid more money per year. Right now, because as he stands now, if he signs a 5-year contract, it's going to be 5 years, and then he gets $50 million a year. but
Mhm.
then he could renegotiate in that 5th year. Okay, now you got to pay me $65 million a year or $70 million a year, right? And
Yeah.
so he becomes more expensive, but the risk there is that you're
Oh,
going to be too
gosh.
expensive, and we
Yeah.
don't want to, we'll have to trade you off, and some other
Mhm.
team will pay for him. So
Yeah.
I'm a little on the fence, but this is where Tom Telesco's got to earn his stripes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? This is his expertise.
Yeah, I think it's kind of switched here. Is that a longer contract is team friendly, shorter
Yep.
contract is player friendly.
Very true.
Yeah, so because
That's true within it. Yep.
you look at it like because that contract for Patrick Mahomes is looking better and better every single year because it was a 10-year like $40 million a year or something like that. Now like he's basically losing money by playing for the Chiefs consistently now, and so. Yeah, so if you can get that, shorter contract, renegotiate sooner than and to get up with like player market inflation, whatever have you like that. That's better for the player in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is.
So I feel like if he can find a middle ground there, maybe do a 6-year deal, maybe that would probably be kind of a balance of the two. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because also these agents are the ones speaking for Justin Herbert. He probably isn't having a whole lot of say in what is happening, and
definitely letting them do the thing. Yep,
exactly. And so it sucks because these agents now are just getting greedy, and they want to because you know what they want to get these rookies out of college and sign them. Hey, look, Herbert's my guy. I just got him paid 100 and whatever 250,000 or million 250,000 $250 million 5-year contract, right? So my point is like, it's not just the, well, unless you're Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's doing his own agent work, which I think is hilarious. But I mean, it's like, come on now. I mean, that guy couldn't hardly talk at all, and now he's his own agent, which I think is even more hilarious. But whatever, that's fine. I mean, he's a freak of nature, but the guy isn't the sharpest tool in the shed from what I could see, and so I just think it's kind of funny. So. Do you think that they'll try to get a couple of stud receivers? Yes, I do think they will, Ricky. I think that's an absolute yes because, Allen Williams are aging out bad aging out. So, Daryl, he talks about this because the cap. Yep, wide receiver edge. That's exactly right. Those are to me, those are our two biggest needs. Just from a dollar perspective, we need people to fill those gaps because we're probably not going to have Allen and Williams here next year. And oh my God, like. Mac and Bosa, I just don't know. Yeah. And this is a good point, Aether. I really hope that Herbert isn't that greedy. You know what I mean? I think, didn't Tom Brady he took pay cuts because he wanted team
consistently.
Folks around.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at a certain point of how many millions you really need to get paid, what does it matter? At some point you're like, I have generational money at this point after a year, give or take. Like you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine with 45 million, 40 million. You'll be fine. Believe me, Geno Smith getting paid, what's 35 million or 30 million or whatever he's getting paid. Mm-hmm. That's crazy money for Geno Smith. Like, I'm sure he's amped on that contract.
Let's look at Chase Daniel. I think he played maybe like all of 12 games in his entire career. He made like 100 mil or something like that.
Dude, crazy, right?
One guy, Sam Bradford, if you remember him. I remember he signed a contract, like a 1-year, $20 million contract for the Cardinals. And that was the most laughable contract, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Of like, and he wasn't even I don't even think he started or either that he got really injured quickly. Dude getting paid $20 million to hold a clipboard. Like, ridiculous.
Hey, like, what are you talking about here?
Hey, I was going to say this though too, by the way. So with that in mind, I know exactly who's going to be available for the Chargers at 21. And you know who it is?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Bolt Bros, baby. Hey,
that's right, baby.
We available? Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to hold a clipboard. Let's do it. I'll be down there with a million a year contract. Let's go.
Trio.
Make it
Herbert,
10
throw
million
the ball
if it's
better.
Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah, throw the ball better, Herbert. Come on now. What's happening here? Come on now.
Right.
Come on now. Hey, I like this. I like Robert Sumo. I love this. We need a grizzly bear. Yes, that movie
Dude,
Cocaine Bear.
please.
That movie was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
funny.
Good. I saw it. Yeah.
Cocaine Bear? Are we gonna call him
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear? We draft
Yeah,
him.
we'll call him Cocaine
Oh,
Bear.
man.
That's what we're gonna call him, dude.
Oh,
He's a
you want to
cocaine
bring
bear.
that juice?
Love it.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
So okay, here we go, Kevin. Agree or disagree? Wide receiver, defensive end, most important additions to address due to cap issues next year. I 100% agree, man. I mean,
well, Chargers even talked about it. They're going to go high on a wide receiver at least in the first 3 rounds, and I feel that's a very, very great assessment. Like, we have got to find a way to be able to get younger in those positions. Next year's not going to be easy for those guys. I mean, we got a well over, I think it's close to about $120 million tied up in 4 guys next year.
Yeah, 4 guys.
2 at the edge, 2 at the wide receiver.
Well, 5 when you include Justin Herbert with his 5th-year deal.
Yeah. They have to pick that up by May 2nd if they're going to do that. So
yeah, that's going to be another one too. What is it? 27 million right now if we do a 5th-year deal.
27 mil. Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, so that's a ton. Okay, I believe in my heart Herbert will take 3 or 4 million less to have the team compete. I mean, that'd be awesome. You got to wonder though. I remember. You guys remember Wally Joyner? I mean, I don't know. James and I were both Padre fans. Kyle was a Padre fan. Now he's more of a Dodger fan since he's been in LA for such a long time. But Wally Joyner played first base. And I remember he signed his contract. He was getting paid like $4 million a year. And they're like, oh, you could have gotten more money going somewhere else. He's like, you know what? I don't know many people who can spend $4 million a year. Right?
Exactly.
And I actually met Wally Joyner a couple times. And he's a cool dude, man. He's super down to earth. And you keep asking yourself, how much damn money do you need to make? Right?
Do you really need that?
Is it really just walking around a party saying I get paid $40 million a year, I get paid $50 million a year, the prestige of it? I mean, come on, dude. I mean, yes, we listen to rap music, but do we have to walk around, in Bentleys and gold chains around our neck? But I guess some people want to, right? So, but to your point, I think you're right. I think Herbert probably will take more of a team-friendly type deal.
Yeah.
Okay, hot take. We should trade Bosa. I do not disagree. I'll be honest with you. I've actually thought about this a lot. In fact, I was thinking about Bosa and also not Mac, because I think we're stuck with Mac no matter what. I think his contract is what's the cap hit on him? Wasn't it like 26? It was crazy. Yeah. We're pretty much stuck on Mac. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. I mean, I actually kind of believe this is going to be this is our Super Bowl push right now. After this, it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep, I mean, I think that could be a good trade bait scenario for us to send Bosa somewhere, maybe get some other picks and release our cap a little bit. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if they trade him to the Eagles after he had that fight with the Eagles fan?
Oh, that would be great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be so good. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Look, I think this is our year for the Super Bowl, man. This is it. I really truly believe this is we are pushing hard for it. I think that's partially why we're bringing a lot of veterans in right now. We're bringing veterans in to make veteran plays and veteran decisions. Like Kendricks is a great example. I
was going to say a little bit about that in the 2000 game. So the thing about it is, LaDainian Tomlinson talks about that. And he said, if we had Drew Brees in that game, we would have won that game and we would have won the Super Bowl that year. The thing is, though, Phillip Rivers was figuring things out still in the 2006 year. Remember that year? That was handoff to LT, handoff to LT.
Handoff to LT, yeah.
That's all it was. And, that became a one-dimensional team. Phillip Rivers wasn't ready because he hasn't had enough time of getting his feet wet within the offense and thus being in the NFL in general. So, I will say Justin Herbert now, even at year 1, would have been better Phillip Rivers than Phillip Rivers in 2006, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Not saying anything that Phillip Rivers is bad. I think Justin Herbert's on a whole new level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whole new level.
Yeah, like
he really is. He really is.
He's cool as a cucumber every single time, and so that's like because Phillip Rivers got emotional like too much a lot of times.
Yep.
He got the happy feet in the pocket there. He definitely let things get to him a little bit more on the sideline. It seems like freaking. They call Joe Burrow like Iceman or whatever like that, but man, dude, Justin Herbert, nothing phases him,
No, not even at all.
And all he wants to do is ball too, like that's just it. Like, And at the same time, he was playing with that freaking injury all year long. Yes, it wasn't on injury reports, but he was playing with that injury. Yeah.
Yep. Still out there. Hey, but don't knock Phillip Rivers playing with 2 blown out knees, though, too.
It's true. Yep.
That was super risky for him to do as well, by the way, because that was why RG3, died. Basically his career ended. Just died.
He hung up his
his career ended because of that. So yeah.
Well, see, so Robert, this is a great point too, and this is why I'm so high on Kellen Moore too, right? I think the running game is going to be maybe should I say the word inspired, or actually having a real game plan, or being aggressive to what they're seeing from the defensive fronts that they're playing against. I mean, I just felt like Lombardi last season just what's that old saying? Putting a square peg in a round hole, right? He just kept it's going to work at some point, right? And it just never did. I'm like, dude, would you see what they're doing and then drop some plays to make it work, right? So it just was really. Anyways,
I mean, and that's the biggest. I can't say it enough, but the biggest upgrade from Lombardi to Moore is that Moore coaches from the sideline. He's not just up in the booth, and he's not just up, just looking down at everybody. He can actually talk to the players. The players can talk to him, and they can make adjustments and right there, real time.
Yep,
make it happen.
I'm all about that. I'm all about that. And the thing about it is, X factor of the season. I don't know. We're getting about an hour and a half into this episode, but I was going to say X factor this season is big time Kellen Moore. Like he's going to make a massive difference to this team. I feel it in my bones, bros. He's going to make a massive difference because I've been a fan of, if we're going to say we let go of Austin Ekeler, like I feel pretty confident he'll make Isaiah Spiller look really good. He'll make Joshua Kelly look really good because I think the system that makes players really good too. And so I think that we're going to have a good, solid system in play that's going to make this offense be on a whole new level. I do think that if we do have a guy that could be a little bit more a downfield stretcher, we got Jalen Guyton back. Hopefully his knee is going to be 100%. He could really use his speed. But if we did get another speed guy, it really just puts his team on a whole new level. So I'm excited for that element of this.
Yeah, isn't that a rap song? We're on a new level. We're on a new level.
Yeah, that's right, dude. That's right, dude.
I mean, I listen to rap. I listen to all that stuff. Top hits, all the above. Marcus. Yeah. Well, okay. So let's get close to wrapping up here. I know we're running an hour and a half at this point. I know Keaton's contracts got ugly, and we should move away from it. Like I would agree, but he's. I tell you what, man. Like $30 million next year is what we're supposed to pay him, dude. That is ridiculous money. And so I would love for him to come back down off that, but the problem is when you're veterans and you become more and more expensive, period, right? And so dang it.
One way that I looked at it with Allen is if we do want to be able to have him come back, and obviously this is something you could think about for 2025 cap hits. You could essentially sign extensions kicking the can down the road again if you want to. If you look at 2025 and our salary cap situation and the amount of players that we have under contract is very minimal right now at this point. So we kind of have to fill some gaps in our team. So, I mean, we essentially could just sign him to say a 2-year extension or whatnot, play him till he's 20 or 34, 35-ish. I mean, he's still considered as one of the top wide receivers in the game. I think they did a chat GDP of who's the top wide receivers in the league, and Keenan Allen was one of those guys that came up still. So it's not like he's not playing well, but injuries are the issue.
Aether's prediction here: Herbert MVP, 56 total touchdowns. Sheesh.
I'll take it. That's wow. That's a lot of touchdowns.
I will say this. I think he has a better chance of getting closer to those numbers under Kellen Moore. I think that Lombardi was fairly uninspired, right? I think he did. He looked at the calling plays for dummies. What's that with those Cliff Note books? The yellow book, and then just hit his entire game plan after that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he pulled every play out of the Madden NFL playbook, and just use those as much as possible as well.
Hot route, hot route, hot route, flip. Stupid, dude. I mean, honestly, I just felt like, man, I was like, what is he doing, dude? I'm like, come on, man. It's frustrating. All right, so maybe we should wrap up here at this point. We're an hour and a half now. So Kyle, you want to go, James, and then I'll wrap up, and then we'll go from there.
Well, as far as this draft goes, I think our targets are at this point, in my head is wide receiver, edge, defensive tackle. I guess you can say defensive end type players. Those are my priorities for first round. Second round, probably could still be wide receiver or edge, depending on who we get for first. But then we should be looking at tight ends down that way. So in a lot of ways, so I guess my top picks are Cansey, let's say Zay Flowers, JSN, and actually in my draft yesterday, I actually ended up getting Lucas Van Ness, and he was a pretty big dude. He's totally like a prototypical Bosa-like player. So but those are kind of my player targets, I feel like, and those are the positions of need for me with the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, in this draft, I think is going to be big for us for the future. I mean, every draft is big for the future of a team. I mean, the thing I love about the draft is it brings confidence back in the fan base of being like, yo, I got this guy, that guy. We got dogs, round 1 to 7 kind of thing. So we all get like hyped. Yeah, we all get hyped. And the thing about it is like we just need to find the guys that are for our needs of our team, not our wants of our team. Larry just put in that to you, Ika or whatever his name is. I'm a big fan of big Samoans in the middle of the D line. You go back to the defensive lineman over at the Bucks for some reason. I can't remember his name right now.
Get that big tuft of hair out of his back of his helmet. Yeah.
Thick body, big body, just can't be pushed around. A guy lost a tooth and was still out there playing. Like, dude, you just need space eaters. And, that's last time was Jamal Williams. And I'm just a big fan of finding where our needs are at. We've had 2 years of bad run defense. Like, we have got to figure out what is going on there. And if we could just have something like that, really just to be able to help that out, we could still find great speedy receivers out of the second, third round. We could still find defensive ends that could actually fit our needs for us. I just think that we just have to go for our needs draft, not our wants, needs draft. And I hope that Telesco and Staley are doing that.
Yeah. And I think they will. I think, the interesting thing about Moore too, I think he does bring another offensive perspective, which is really good. I didn't really ever feel like all the interviews I saw with Lombardi, I never really felt like, maybe I should say this correctly. I felt like he didn't understand what he was there for. Right. I sort of felt like he was there and was just kind of told what to do. And he just sort of did things, Moore, I think, is going to take control of the offense and really build an offense around. We already know this. When I interviewed Josh Palmer's very clear. Hey, can I get the Cowboys playbook? He's like, well, it's not going to be the playbook that we're going to make here. We're going to make another playbook for the Chargers with the people that we have here. So I personally believe that, boy. So again, when we talk about positions, I think we need a wide receiver. We need someone to stretch the field. I think we need a tight end. I do think we need some depth on the line and definitely defensive line. It's going to be really interesting. Yeah. Hello, Nada. I think that guy's amazing. And I wish, that guy's perfect, and bottom line, I think we have the good thing. The one thing I will say that we have that's good for us right now, let me land my plane. We have a lot of veterans. So I think if our team can stay healthy, please knock on wood, let's be healthy for one damn season. We can make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I truly believe the sky's the limit for this team, but we've never been healthy. So if we can stay healthy, bring in some rookie talent to just, fill in the gaps, then we're going to be fine. And long term, we're going to be in great shape. I think we're going to get a wide receiver. We're probably going to get a defensive tackle. We're going to get some offensive tackles. We're going to get a mixture of everything. It's going to be really interesting to see. So I'm kind of excited. So, and guys, do not forget. Do not remember. Do not remember.
Do not show up.
I think I'm having a mild stroke. Let me see what my heart rate is here. Hold on, just a second.
I got a neuralizer then. Here, let me just.
Oh my God, what happened to me here, boy?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not looking good. My Google Watch is saying you got some problems. But yes, I know that. Thank you very much. No, but we are going to be going live for the first round of the mock draft. So guys, please be there for us. We are going to be doing it. And I'm also going to be on a cruise. So I'm going to be gone for a whole week. So James and Kyle are going to have to hold down the fort while I'm gone after the mock draft.
P-O-P, B-R-O, holding it down.
P-O-P. What?
P-O-P.
I'm having a stroke over here too.
Yeah. B-R-O, holding it down.
B-R-O, holding it down. No, but anyway, I think bottom line, we got a lot of good things to be thankful for. I think this is going to be awesome. Guys, it's awesome. This is a great video. I'm really glad you guys hopped on. You guys really helped us out too, because really and truly, this is why we do it. We want to chat with you guys. You guys are equally as smart as us. No, before I forget, Kyle, are we going to allow people like Carlos and all these other folks, Robert, hop on our live draft? I know we were talking about putting the link out there. Do we want to try and do that and chat? What do you guys think? Would you want to hop in with us and be on our show? For the draft.
Well, 100%. We can drop our link in the chat, and whoever wants to jump in can jump in. We'll have them backstage for a minute. We'll bring them in one at a time. If we got a bunch, then we'll give everyone like 5 minutes to say their 2 cents. I think that'd be pretty dope. Yeah, let's make it happen.
Fun.
I like that idea. I like that idea. So again, it would be a new format for us. Again, we like to try new things on this channel quite a bit, right? Okay. And again, guys, all you need to have is a mic and a camera and a good internet connection. The good thing is we use a product that's really here. We'd love. Again, we did this because we want you guys to be a part of our podcast. This is nothing about us. We just are. We want to communicate with you guys. So, but yes, Robert, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I love this. So
I like how he's like saying, what was it? Darrell was saying, we promised to be on our best behavior. That's funny because I'm like expecting somebody to jump in there and be like, F you, bye bye. Yeah, see you, bud.
Like, yeah. Hey, the drunker the better. That's good.
The drunker the better.
But you guys could also log in on your cell phones too, Robert. So I mean, this is something that's a mobile option too for you too. So
100%.
So you could jump it that way too.
Yeah, as long as you got a smartphone, use your front-facing camera, whatever, you'd be totally fine.
Yeah, you're solid.
So yeah, we use a product that's pretty universally used and easy for everyone to play around with. So
for sure.
Mm-hmm. All righty, guys. Again, we'll probably get the thumbnail up and ready to go on that here pretty soon. But we're going to be doing a lot of content up until the draft. I was kind of thinking I got some ideas. I don't want to throw out too many thoughts, but we're going to put a bunch of content out before the actual draft party. So
sounds good.
All righty, guys. We're the Bolt Bros. Wait, who's hitting the button again? Come on, is it gonna be me? Gonna be you? Who's gonna do it?
I'll do it. I gotta redeem myself.
All
right.
I know you messed up last time.
Hey, you done messed up. Hey, Elron.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, bros.
All
Get
right,
out of here.
See you, bros.
See you.
Peace.
Bolt Bros.